Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coaching Corner. Welcome, 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 welcome,
We're
welcome.
back.
We're back in
Yay.
action, back on the saddle. And I'm really grateful to be here with my amazing colleagues to share some very, very powerful knowledge. And I'm sure, it's always great because we get like a Avengers, if you will, of superpowers of different experiences, interpretations of this amazing material. But the most important thing is to help you, right? Because we are part of what we're sharing here today. As long as we're here in a physical, probably even in the afterlife as well. But what we're talking about today, we're continuing with universal laws, which is essential to understand. And you might just learn something today. You might, and you might just smile too as well, because we had a couple weekends off, and there's a lot to be shared, and I'm sure we're eager to dive right into it. So without further ado, feel free to engage, ask questions live, feel free to like or whatever, but also don't be afraid to reach out to any one of us as well, because we definitely want to help you with material. And if you have a dream or a wish or want to improve any area in your life, we're here for you. And feel free to reach out to anybody that you resonate with. All right. So let's get going. All right. So my name is Mel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant, founder of Believe in the Unseen Consulting, also trained by the late great legend Bob Proctor. So I help hardworking but unfulfilled professionals who know they're capable of more, yet feel stuck in a cycle of effort without progress, maybe lacking clarity, direction, and basically the subconscious programming needed to create the income, freedom, and life they truly desire. And that's my purpose. So I'll pass it on to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Ah, thank you, Jamel. So welcome everyone. I am so happy to be back here. We missed you for a couple of weeks and so happy to have Alicia back with us. She's been traveling and out there and helping people change their lives. So grateful to be here. Thank you for being here. And if you're catching the replay, welcome. So my name is Lou Perica. I am the founder of Prosperous Results and I am a success mindset mentor and speaker. And what I do is I work with growth minded women who just feel like there's more to them, whether it's more success, more fulfillment, more alignment in their life, but something isn't really clicking. So many times when I speak with them, they're doing a lot of things, the right things, if you will, on the outside, but still not seeing the results. And when that happens, that can leave you feeling very frustrated or confused. And what I help them do is understand what's actually driving their current results, how their thoughts, their feelings, their interpretations, the patterns that are influencing everything. Because once you see that, you will start to see things shift in a very real and lasting way. So today I'm super excited again to touch upon, we're going to be discussing the universal laws. And today we're going to be touching upon, I think, a little bit of the law of polarity, the law of cause and effect. Maybe we can get into the law of what was that? Compensation and action. But you're going this when you start to understand the universal laws, it really helps you understand that nothing is just happening by happenstance. There is a power and a force behind everything. And when you understand that, you're able to take better control of your life and how you are working within these laws. So I am now going to pass it over to Alicia.
Hello, thank you, Lou. I'm Paul and Yemel. I miss you so much. This time I was away traveling. Um, I um, I live in Sweden, And I am also certified coach and values coach. I work a lot with values, and I help people that has everything but still feel empty on the inside. So I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside, not just good, it looks good from the outside. And this is when we create a life that is aligned with the values that we have. And that is I help people with. I also help leaders to be even better leaders. So that's me. Paul?
Thank you very much, Alicia, and welcome back. So good to see you back here with us. My name's Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I'm a success mindset coach, mentor, and also, as my colleagues, have been mentored and coached by Bob Proctor. And I help people transform their self-image so that they can move from their potential to performance and create results that match who they're capable of becoming. So I help you unlock your inner game, as I like to say, so that you stop living from the outside in and start creating results from the inside out, and help you truly live to your greatest possibilities. Jamel.
All right. I'm so excited because this is like, it's been a while, and it's amazing to share this knowledge and help people kind of be a friendly reminder for some, because some of us dabble into, some of this knowledge, right? And then we kind of put it down and we let the outside world shape the inside, and you start going to work or just kind of forgetting that you're a part of something very special, and you can't turn it off. It's always on. And it's good to have an understanding of it. And for those that have no idea what universal laws are, let this be a treat for you today as well, right? And for those that know a lot of it, but yet your results are not matching what you truly desire, let this also be a message for you today as well. And thank you for all those that are here live today. See a couple of people here live and some comments as well. Welcome. And some of the comments are hilarious. But, today we're talking about universal laws. And my awesome colleague, Lou, wanted to start with this special one here. And we're kind of picking up where we left off. And the law of polarity, also known as the law of opposites. So, as I've heard probably 1,000 times, and I'll hear it again because it's a great reminder, there's left, right, up, down, inside, out, hot, cold. There's an opposite, an equal opposite to everything. And even think about the yin and yang sign as well, right? So that's a reminder that there is an opposite to something. And this law is so good because you're able to see the opposite of maybe challenging situations, trials or conditions or circumstances. You're able to see a positive side to a negative side. And that's what I share a lot, with my clients, and even just talking live, like there's good in everything, right? And it's a matter of seeing the good in every situation. And most people are conditioned to see the negative side of things. And what that does, it lowers your vibration. And we talked about the law of vibration. So the law of opposites is, it's unavoidable. There's an opposite to everything. But I would say it's always good to focus, be aware of it, because when you're aware of it, you're able to see another side. And it's not only just with feelings. You can see the opposite in everything. And it allows you to strengthen or develop your perception and how you see things. Like, for instance, where I had to kind of do a little back end technical stuff, and we're, I think, 1 or 2 minutes late starting today. And this is open and honest here on camera. I could see that as a negative or as a positive, right? Maybe, we're getting our hair done, right? we can see anything as a negative or a positive, right? So, you know, that's a good start there, just to kind of warm up the water a little bit.
Oh, want me to hop in?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the law of polarity. So when I first learned about it, I thought it was one extreme versus another extreme, but it's really kind of the same thing, but like on a sliding scale, if you will. Like, so for example, light and darkness. It's not just one or the other. It's kind of like a sliding scale. And I don't even like to think of the scale as horizontal, but more circular. But anyways, what I learned about when I learned about the law of polarity, I used the example of a battery, a simple battery. And on one side of it has the negative, and on the other side is the positive. Neither one is right or wrong or good or bad, but both are necessary for the battery to work. So when I look at situations, just like Jamel mentioned, there is good in everything. And also, there is not so good in everything. But it's what we choose to focus on. So, with all these laws, like the law of relativity, the law of polarity, it is giving us the opportunity to say, how do I want to experience this moment? How do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? So everything is really giving us an invitation to how we want to show up. And that's how I look at the law of polarity. Um, Sometimes it's not easy to find the good in something. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it can take maybe decades until you've had enough experiences to look back on something and then get the understanding. I see why that happened, or I can see the good in it. For an example, like a lot of us have a story, right? And we cling to the story. Oh, this is how I was raised, blah, 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 yada, yada. But sometimes it's not till decades later, once you've experienced life, you can look back what you thought were not so terrific experiences. You can now see how those not so terrific experiences actually built you up to the person you are today. So it's always up to us on how we choose to look at a situation, and we have that power in the pause to decide, do I want to respond? Do I want to react? Who do I want to be in this moment? Paul. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
On there?
You're on.
You're good.
Okay, sorry. Good. Yeah, thank you, Lou. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm going to just underscore a little bit what Lou said. And as she said, it's like a sliding scale, right? So the law of polarity, everything has an opposite. So as Lou said, light and dark, success and failure, inside, outside, up, down. So they're not separate, right? They're two extremes of the same thing. So what the law of polarity is teaching us is that that opposites are simply different degrees on the same spectrum, or as Lou said, the same scale. So fear and courage are not different in nature; they're different in intensity, actually. Lack and abundance, again, not separate. They're just points along that same scale as Lou was talking about. So you can transform your experience by shifting along that scale, and that's where your true power happens. If fear exists, then that confidence also exists. If doubt exists, then certainty is available to you. A problem exists, a solution exists within that same field. So you're never actually stuck. you're simply positioned on one end of that scale or spectrum. So instead of trying to eliminate a negative state, you have to recognize what the opposite is. And then you consciously move towards that. And then you shift your focus, you shift your language, you shift the meaning. So as someone said, you don't fight the darkness, you introduce light into the darkness. Alicia.
Yeah, that's good, Paul. Very good. I was thinking, I live in Sweden, and in the middle of Sweden almost. And now I am doing my coaching in the north of Sweden, the north, the North Pole of Sweden there. And last week I was talking to, or the 2 weeks before, and I was talking to a friend, and he told me like, oh, all the snow is melting away. And I say, oh, that's great. And he say, no way, it's not good, because, we want to have snow here when the Easter comes, because then they go out, they have some special motor that they, so we have the same information. And I say, oh, wow, that's great that the snow is melting. And he say, no, it's not good. So it's because I want to have more like spring. And at this time we have at home, we have spring now, but there is still the winter. So we have the information that come to us is either positive or negative. It's just how we assume or translate that to us that will get the positive or negative. So for me, it was positive that the snow was melting. For him, not, because they wanted to have that. And so is in life, everything. And some person will think this is positive, and the other, oh no, this is so negative. So we all see the world as we are, not as it is. And we put the plus or minus of the events. And then, as you say, Lou, before, it makes you react or respond to that situation. But sometimes we are so that we go to the negative all the time. And the problem when we go to the negative all the time is that we be a victim of the circumstances. And instead of taking action to go from there and believing in self that, okay, I know, I believe in me, I know that I have been in different situation, I have fixed this, so this is nothing, I will fix it, and believing in self. But when you are in the negative all the time, then you will not believe in yourself and be a victim of these circumstances. And then you will be fragile. And we want to be like, we are anti-fragile, live life, come to me, give me everything. I am anti-fragile because I believe that I can fix everything, and that the positive or negative that come to my life is for me to, I don't know, to understand more about myself, to know more about my talents or my knowledge, to use more of what I have learned all the life. This is how I see it. And I have this today. I don't know why.
There we go. I love it.
And this is, it's smooth. And this is this is life. It is always like that. And it's when we think that it's always like that, like, smooth, I think that we underestimate our power inside us. This is what I think. I think that when we are the victim of this, something that we believe is negative, or we put the negative sign on that, that we forget who we are, or talents, that we have abilities to fix things. That is what I think.
I love it. I love it. All of this is so amazing. You know, it comes to, I never heard anyone say anti-fragile. I love I love that. That's a new term that for me. So thank you, Alicia. I like that. You know, it reminds me a lot of like movies and books, right? There's the hero and the villain, right? So it creates this balance, and you see that in a lot of stories. And you need both to have a good story, right? And it's interesting, some movies or stories, they almost make the villain seem like a good guy. They bring you in and feel bad for him or her, and then they twist your feelings to root for the villain sometimes. It depends on the movie or the book. But the point is, Alicia mentioned, you know, a lot of people are conditioned to play the victim, right? And you swim in that feeling, and it doesn't do you any service, right? This is why being on Coach's Corner, it should give you some type of awakening to kind of really look at yourself. Am I playing the victim? Oh, woe is me. Look what happened to me. Like, I'm the victim of all these things. And having that identity deep in your subconscious, Lou mentioned, it's almost impossible for you to see the opposite side, right? So you're reinforcing and dwelling on the negatives of the past. It's a dark, dark place to be. So you want to shift that. Know that it's there. The opposite is readily available for you to choose, right? We can't force you to choose to see something that you can't see, right? So you have to make an internal choice to say, oh, I'm not letting my past dictate my future anymore. And this is this is just the law of polarity, right? We haven't even moved on to the others. So you make an internal choice of who you're becoming. Well, first, a goal, what you want in your life, who are you becoming, like who's that person with whatever goal that you want. And of course, it's the opposite of the victim that you've been playing. It's false identity, mistaken identity, if you will, right? And I believe Alicia's getting another prop because I'm inspiring her right now. So the point, I love her props, by the way. They're amazing. So the point is...
No, my battery is taken.
Where is it? Oh, God. So you never know what you get on Coach's Corner. And, you know, we mentioned a little bit about the law of vibration. That should shift your vibration today, right? You laughed a little bit, right? And you got to feel good, right? And vibration is everything. And that's one side of polarity. And I agree with Lou, right? Because I don't think there's this is a very complex thing. I think there is an exact opposite to everything, but it's scalable. I think it's a concept you can get so deep, because an exact opposite is it's like a sliding scale, and you can get very complex about that. But the point is, what are you choosing and what are you aware of? Because you can, past thinking and past beliefs will dictate what polarity you're on towards the future if you keep dwelling on it. Now, on the flip side, you can focus on the positive, right? What are all the great things you've done in your life that you're proud of or grateful for, or grateful that you achieved, family, personal, or professional? And what you're doing, you're tapping into that positive side that you already experienced. it's so interesting because life, you experience both polarities, and it depends on the vibration you're in to be aware of which side you're focused on. Isn't that crazy? So you can be a really grumpy person one day and an awesome person the next day. What's funny, a story that comes to mind, and I'll pass it here, is like you can be standing in line, let's say like a bank line or whatever, and the teller, there's only one teller there, right? One bank person, and there's a long line. But let's say you're in a great vibration. You're just, hey, I'm happy. I'm withdrawing a lot of money today. I'm happy I have money in my account, right? So you're focusing, you're thinking, right? You're focusing on the positive. And the next day, let's say you stand in that same line. Oh, look at all these people. Oh, that bank teller is so slow. They don't know how to count. You see the two sides? So you're in the same line, but your vibration or your awareness, your attention dictates which polarity you're in. This will continually shape your life, and you will always be a part of it, never separate.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamel. And what I love too is, so we're all sharing these different universal laws. And when you start to understand the universal laws, become a little bit familiar, you don't have to go into a lot of depth. But what you start to see, at least for me, is the magnificence of life. You start to understand that the entire universe operates by laws, and these laws are absolute. They cannot change. So if we can learn about them, learn to how we live within them, and what these laws are always, for, in my opinion, they're always presenting you with something, some sort of an effect, which is our next law, what we'll be talking about, the law of cause and effect. But it's always giving you the opportunity to make a choice, to make a decision. So using your example, Jamel, of the bank line, so there's a long line. That is a fact. The fact is there's one teller and a long bank line. How each person interprets that is how they will experience life, or at least that moment. Because individually, that's what we're all doing. We are giving life meaning. That's why we have the ability to always choose. So situations, right? Even if things have been really crappy and lousy, look for why. Because even if they are, and you're like, there's nothing I can change, this situation, this circumstance is really crappy. But what that also does, it shows you, it brings you clarity. You don't want this type of experience. You would prefer something else. And typically it's the opposite. Typically. And again, the opposite, what does that mean? Every person gets to decide what that other preference may be for them. So every situation, every result, every conversation, you are experiencing these laws in effect, giving you the power to make a choice at that very moment. How do you want to interpret this thing that you are observing? So when you start to get clarity on that, you will really start to understand, at least for myself, and I probably can speak for my colleagues, just how powerful, what powerful creators. We are creating our own life, our own experience. We are the ones giving meaning to our lives by the thoughts, the interpretations that we are choosing from what we observe. So I just wanted to, again, I can't emphasize enough for me how powerful the universal laws are. Once you have somewhat an understanding, you will start to truly see the magnificence of life. Paul?
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, Lou. Wow. Yeah. I'm just going to add a little short bit here. What we've been talking about is the law of polarity, that, everything has an opposite. And it really ties into what Lou said, something there that reminds me of the law of relativity, which is really tied in closely of polarity, because the law of relativity shows that our experiences don't have a fixed meaning. Jamel mentioned this too, right? And Lou, our experiences don't have a fixed meaning. We assign meaning to those experiences through our own perception and comparison, which shapes how we are responding, right? How we respond to that or react to that, whatever situation we're in. It's a bank lineup, you're in your car, you're in traffic, whatever. The law of polarity takes that law of relativity even a little bit deeper, because it reveals that every experience contains an opposite, like we've already talked about. What we perceive as negative is simply one end of the spectrum, and we have the ability to shift that towards a more empowering position. So, and together the laws remind us that transformation isn't about controlling, the circumstances or the outside world. It's really about mastering how we see and how we interpret it, and how we respond to it from the inside. Alicia.
Yeah. So I think about what you say, the ability to shift. And now I have a prompt that I have done here. I don't know if you see that, but it's a minus here and a plus here. And if the Q is from quality. And this is a ladder, and our ability to take action, our ability to move from this thinking negative about one thing has a lot to do to here, the quality of our thought that creates some emotions in us that make, if you are here in the bottom of the ladder, that you have like fear or sad, or you are feeling sadness or angry or fear. So it's more difficult to change the perception about that this situation is negative or positive, to change from negative to positive, that okay. But if you are here up like love, enthusiasm, all this gratitude, all this is much more easy to shift the perception that we are having about one situation. So and sometimes people think that, oh, I am here, I need to jump to this. So if you are very low in this ladder, just ask yourself, what can I do to move to the next level and to the next level? And for example, today I was like, I don't know, I was feeling something in the morning, and I say, okay, what can I do to move to the next? And they said, oh, I put music and I take a dance. And then suddenly it was like, I don't know what happened here. So we need to move from the bottom of the ladder up to the higher level, so that we are more in connection to our ability, to our creativity, to our, all these good things that we have inside us, so that we can use all those tools better, in a better way.
Wow. I told you, everybody. We have a lot to share here. That's beautiful, Alicia, Lou, and Paul. This is so good. This is what happens. We took a little break and we have so much. I mean, every coach's corner, right? We're always giving and serving. And it's a great segue to the next law, if you will.
Yes.
Cause and effect. Emerson called it the law of laws, the law of cause and effect. You are the cause of everything in your life. Everything. The money that you have, the time that you have, everything. The success, professionally or personally, whatever you define success of. You're creating your whole life, and take responsibility for it. Ooh, responsibility. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I can't. Look what's happened to me. No, that's the key to freedom. Take responsibility. And it's challenging for some people. I mean, for me, at some point in my life, I was blaming things outside myself, which you lose all your power. And the law of cause and effect, when you make a certain decision in your life, whatever it is, there is an effect, right? You can't connect the dots going forwards, but you can connect them going backwards. So look at the decisions you made or didn't make that shaped certain things in your life. Wow, this is so reflective. All of us here made a decision to improve our lives in some way, to face fear, being uncomfortable, right? So we were the cause to break through discomfort towards a higher version of ourselves. You know what the effect is? You're looking at it. Come on now. Come on. Come on. You're looking. You're experiencing an effect. We decided to go deeper in understanding ourselves and do it professionally to help others. So this isn't just having fun on camera. It's always fun, being with amazing individuals, but this is to help you kind of understand more of these laws that you're a part of. And guess what? Nothing starts or changes until you take action, and you have to make a decision before you act. So powerful. Like if you look back at your life, at the decisions that you made, you might not be happy with some of the decisions that you made. But guess what? You can change it right now. And that's why the present is a present. It's a gift for you to become, for one, to make a choice, and another to decide. Well, it's the same thing, but to decide on what your cause is. So you got to know where you're going, because that's the effect. But what are you deciding now? So cause and effect is everything. Like there's so many movies and stories about how one little decision could change the trajectory of your entire future. And not making that decision can change the trajectory of your entire future. What effects are you having? And a good thing to do is look at your outside world. Look at, money's easy. Like look at what's in your account. Look what success you've had in whatever it is that you're doing. Look at your job. Look at geographically where you're living, whatever you want to change, just observe it. And that's just the effect of your beliefs, actually, which is connected to your self-image and, of course, your paradigm and your mental conditioning and all that. But it's just your self-expressed, right? So we can get really deep with cause and effect. And I know Lou is itching to jump. Have at it, Lou.
Well, once again, if you've been following along, Coach's Corner, we've been on every week for quite some time now, you'll start to see patterns. There are patterns. Even within the laws, there's some familiarity. There's patterns. So with the law of cause and effect, for nothing happens by accident, and Jamel mentioned this, it's taking responsibility. And boy, oh boy, I had a little tough time with that. See, I wanted to blame someone or some things, or at least a little bit, whether it was, my husband, my kids, my neighbors, my government, my this, my that. There were times I just wanted to blame other people. And learning that my entire life is really a reflection of my beliefs, how I've responded to things, and how I showed up. So it was really my, if you will, energetic signature that was being displayed in my relationships, my health, my income, my happiness, everything. And when I started to put these pieces of the puzzle together, it became very clear to me. So with the law of cause and effect, we say the word result. They're saying effect. But one of the other words that I like is the consequence. And a lot of times, at least for myself, I would think of consequence as a negative thing. Well, you did something wrong or bad. And just like Alicia said, nothing has meaning until we give it a meaning. But let's say we did something that maybe we regretted or wish we didn't do, and there was some sort of consequence. But con is actually the prefix for meaning with or together, sequence. So together with the sequence, and that sequence is your thoughts. We all have thoughts, but then we interpret them in some way. We give them some sort of meaning. And if we emotionally connect with that thought and that meaning, it causes emotions in us. And depending on how often we think of that thought, it now becomes a belief. And many times we're doing this unconsciously. So our whole life is really just a printout. It's an outpicturing of our choices, our beliefs, our decisions, our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior. So when you look back at your own life, and even so many times you think, no, you don't understand, that person did this to me. Believe me, we all want to blame somebody. But now I just take a deep breath, and maybe you were victimized in some way, shape, or form. But I understand now, at least for me, how I can interpret that situation, even if it was decades ago, and understand that thing happened so I could make, or given the invitation to make a new choice and a new decision. And if I chose not to, then I would keep repeating. It may not be the same person that I'm experiencing these situations or circumstances, but it would be something very similar. So now, at this stage of my life, I'm truly able to reflect back at the cause and the effect, or the cause and the consequence of all my choices and decisions. And it becomes so obvious. This is what's so funny. It really becomes obvious. And even when I have conversations with people and they're blaming this and they're blaming that, inside, I feel for them, but inside I'm kind of chuckling, because we really think that life is coming at us and it's so hard and you don't understand. I need a shield and a sword just to battle every day. And really what it is you are battling your own beliefs. We're battling our own beliefs. So when you have clarity on this, life just becomes better. It becomes richer, it becomes more meaningful. And you are able to bring that energy into new conversations, into new relationships. And you simply show up better. That's just been my experience with these laws and with the law of cause and effect. It really is our thoughts, how we interpret them, how we feel about them, the repetition of them until they become beliefs. and how we are behaving and showing up. This is the results, is the effects, it's the consequence of those steps. Paul?
Thank you, Lou. That was so good. And it's really hard, I think, for some people. It was hard for me to think, okay, this law teaches that every outcome in your life, success or struggle, it's a result of specific thoughts, decisions, and actions. Well, we're always focusing on maybe, okay, change your behavior, or as Lou said, like, why is this happening to me? Most people focus on that. Why is this happening? Why don't I have results I want? But this law is shifting our focus, right? Because thoughts are causes, beliefs are causes, decisions are causes, and the actions are causes, and the results, well, the results are the effects. And when you really, really understand the law, then you stop blaming, as Lou said, you stop blaming the circumstances, and you start creating your results like intentionally. That's what I tell my people, you have to create your life with intention. If you don't like the effect, you have to change the cause. And every result has a cause. So if every result has a cause, then this question would follow. Then how are those results returned to us, in what form and in what proportion? But if you understand that thoughts are causes, and every thought initiates a chain reaction. So a repeated thought over and over, that becomes a belief, and that your belief will influence your perception. Then your perception in turn drives your behavior, what you do. So your actions are visible, are visible causes, but the thinking is what was the originating cause, right? Your subconscious beliefs act like a program, or you're programmed. So if someone believes, I'm not ready, what do? They hesitate. If someone believes, okay, I'll figure that out, I'm going to figure this out, then they start to take an action. So it's a different belief, have a different behavior, and so you'll get a different result. And I really think that I had a conversation with someone the other day, and it really comes down to identity, because you don't consistently act outside of who you believe you are. So your identity is driving your beliefs, right? And then again, your beliefs determine your decisions determine your actions, and your actions produce your results. So if your results aren't changing, it's really because, my identity hasn't changed. And that's so often, right? I'm trying to change my behavior, but my identity hasn't changed. So the thing I'm trying to change is very short-lived. And there's this delay between cause and effect. You plant a seed in the spring, but it doesn't grow overnight. You change your thinking today, but the results don't shift instantly. And that's why people, when they see that delay or they feel that delay, they quit, and it's quitting too early, or they misinterpret the results, or they're not giving them a chance, really, or they think their efforts aren't working. But as Jamel said, the law is always working. So today, the results you're getting today are the causes from yesterday, and tomorrow's results are the causes of what you're doing, thinking today. Alicia?
Yeah, that's so good. And I was thinking about what you say, and it made me think when we discussed the books, The Science of Getting Rich, and also the Neville Goddard, The Feelings, The Secret. We talk about a lot of consciousness and the inner state. And this is what the inner state, where you are in the ladder of the inner state. Are you here all the time? Then you are blaming and complaining instead of seeing yourself as anti-fragile, as we talked before, and say, okay, how can, if I am an anti-fragile person, and live, because if you are here, you are very fragile, and it's like, oh, please wrap me up I am very fragile, and then you lose the power within. So when we are here in the consciousness here in the higher state, then it's more easy to take action, to assume responsibility, to take responsibility to everything. And here is very important to discuss, because I was talking to a client, and when I say, how are you taking responsibility for your life? I say, oh, I am taking responsibility for everybody but it's not for everybody. Your life. You should not take responsibility for other people. It's more like what are you doing for yourself, or what can you take responsibility, what other people do, and so you cannot take responsibility. And the problem is that people are taking more energy to take responsibility for other people's behavior and things, that they forget to take responsibility for themselves. They are busy being responsible for everybody else, instead of like, okay, I have created this, how I have created this, how I have not setting boundaries, or what is that? But if you are busy taking responsibility for others, you are not taking responsibility for yourself. So and also you talk about the identity. So if we have an identity that, for example, I am not good enough, then you will hesitate, and you will hold you back, and you will overthink everything, and then you will be overwhelmed. Everything, instead of thinking, okay, and then you will fix the effect. But it's not the effect that you need to go and fix. You need to fix the cause. What is the inner state that you are in that is causing the results that you don't like? That is what we take responsibility. And if you take responsibility for that, if you take 5%, start with 5%, not just to shock your brain, but say, okay, if I'm taking 5% more responsibility about this situation, what will I do? And go and do that. So that is starting a small step to take responsibility for your life. So it's, I also, when I discuss with people about taking 100% responsibility, people like, whoa, they love being victim. They love complaining. They love blaming. And blaming and complaining is just because you know that something is better, but you are not willing to pay the price to fix it. And then it's better to be, a fragile instead of anti-fragile.
Very good.
Mic drop. Oh my God. Wow. This has been such a great session. The law of cause and effect, the law of polarity. This is so important for everyone to understand, and to just allow this material to fall into your subconscious. But just think about some of the things that were shared here. And Alicia, I love what you said about 5%. Just take 5% more responsibility every day. Imagine what that will do to your results in your life. And that, it reminds me, like, your results are just an echo of your past thinking, right? Your internal self, who you believe yourself to be. And it's just mirroring actually the responsibility that you're taking. And it's interesting. I'm looking right at the screen. Contact us today. Let's talk about your next step. Right? You see that. guess what that is? That's cause, if you decide to, right? And this is just, wow, a couple minutes, right? Within an hour of talking about, a couple major universal laws. So this is just a small part of you understanding more about yourself, and not only take responsibility. That's such a heavy word for everybody, but take responsibility for your mind and what you're thinking. It all starts there. Like what thoughts are you focused on a daily basis in every moment? Are you letting everything in your life control what you're thinking or influence what you're thinking in your conscious mind? Are you allowing other people, their stories, to influence how you want your story to be? Take responsibility for the dreams and ideas and the vision that you hold in your conscious and your subconscious, especially here. Because if you're not taking responsibility, what are you? You're the plaything for outside sources, being tossed about in the ocean of life without any direction. And this is where frustration comes in, because you don't understand what you're part of. You don't understand, how to change things, how to improve things, and the power that you have as a human being. You have tremendous gifts. And we're talking about these universal laws because your gifts, it's all related. It's all connected to it. And nothing changes until you change. And this is just an understanding of what you're part of and who you really are. So I know we have a couple minutes here, but just take responsibility today. Just today. What are you focused on today? Are you letting the negatives of the past? Are you doubting things? Are you worrying? And it always starts here in your conscious mind. You put thoughts here, and you can let go of thoughts that don't serve you here. You have that ability. And in a sense, that's cause and effect right there. Isn't that cool? You are causing an effect based on what you think in every moment. There's no way around that. So, I'll ask the panel, do we have anything going on? This has been such an amazing Coach's Corner. If you have something going on this month or next month, feel free to share.
I just wrapped up a few speaking engagements, and I'm getting ready to go back to Maine. I'm working on a program right now. So that's what I've got going on right now.
Awesome.
I am working on a program also, and also in a community. And I always, for people that are interested to know more about their values, I do always values assessments. So it's just to contact me.
Awesome.
I'm continuing on with the series I created, the Inner Game series. I completed the first masterclass, had great engagement and good turnout. The Art of Goal Creation, and I'm going to continue on with the next one. It's going to be in a few weeks because I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to post when the exact date will be for the next in-person masterclass, part of the Inner Game series.
Oh, I like that. The Art of Goal Achieving. What was the name of it again, Paul? The Art of
Goal Creation.
Creation. That's
Art of Goal Creation.
And that is a cause. We just talked about cause and effect. Wow. Next week, I'm doing a 5-day live challenge. So I'm really excited about it. And if you want access to that, I'll be live actually here on YouTube as well every day for 5 days. And it's going to be amazing. It's different topics and diving in more to what was shared here. And I'm super excited about it. So if you want access to that, obviously message me. And also to reach out to any one of us, right? Whoever you resonate with, it doesn't matter. Just message one of us or use our call links that you see available. So that way we can help you with this material, because just wishing and hoping and sitting on the outside and, not taking that one little step, you're just going to stand there on the island wishing you can get off. So anyway, awesome Coaches Corner. We're back, and we'll see you next time as well. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.